Now, basically, this chapter, Footprints Without Feet, it is actually you can say, abridged version, summary of the entire novel. Little bit, not entire, half novel, you can say. No, Sudhanshu. Basically, this book is a science fiction and written by H.G. Wells. Okay, and this entire series, it first of all it appeared in the form of series in Pearson's Weekly. In which year? 1897. But thereafter, since it became so popular, people loved this story so very much that it was decided to publish this entire series as a novel. And in the same year, it was in the market in the form of a novel. Now, the Invisible Man, obviously, the moment you will read the title, it will come to you. Invisible, Adrishya. And everybody wants to become invisible. No, I sometimes also wants to be invisible. You also. Oh, what a blessing it is. What do you think? Is it a blessing or a curse? Invisibility. I think it's a blessing sometime. But if the same invisibility it will be on you for the entire time, then you know it will be difficult for you to survive. Yes, Utkarsh, you are right. It is blessing also, it is curse also. In fact, when you will go through this entire story, then you will feel that it is more a curse than to a blessing. Because if you have that power of invisibility, you should also know how to use it. That's the question. This is very important. You should know how to use it. But the moment you will start misusing it, my dear children, you will be in trouble. And that happened with this great scientist Griffin. You will be surprised to see that this man, who is actually, you can say, a blessing for the scientific world, he could have been an asset to the scientific world. Why he became curse for the humanity? Just remember this line. Griffin, the great scientist, who has devoted himself to research, and he who was trying for these physical terms, refractive index, so that the air neither absorbs nor reflects the light. So it could have been a great, research for the entire world, but it turned into a curse for humanity. Now, actually, what happened? See, this entire story has been made in the form of a film also, normal film, whereas I'm going to show you the animated form. But before that, you listen to the plot of this story so that you will be able to enjoy it. Once upon a time, a mysterious man, who was actually a stranger man, arrives at a local inn. Inn, INN, a kind of hotel, coaches and horses, in the village Iping. And he took a room in that hotel, which was owned by Mr. and Mrs. Hall. And it was an English village of Iping, West Sussex. And the time was during heavy snowstorm, very cold season. The stranger was wearing a long sleeved thick coat, gloves. Even his face was hidden because the entire face he has covered with bandages. Okay, he has covered his entire face with bandages. Yeah, he has also added one prosthetic nose, fake nose, and he was wearing a very wide hat. You can say when he reached there, he was not in a very good mood. He was introvert, unfriendly, very harsh, very rude. And what was his demand when he entered into Mr. and Mrs. Hall's inn? To be left alone, and he used to spend most of the time in his room. Now, why Mrs. Hall? even though she found him suspicious, but why she allowed him to be there? Because at that time, season's time, she hardly has any customer. So he actually was profitable for her business, because he asked her that he will pay a good amount of money, and that's all. The lady was a perfect businessman, so she thought, okay, fine, I will get my money. What the hell I have to do with this suspicious man? Yeah, but thereafter, what happened? The lady herself was again against him, because when you will come to know the entire story, then you will find out. So now basically she started, he also he decorated, he said that he will receive some of his luggage, and that luggage was having lot of bottles, chemical bottles, suspicious kind of beakers, suspicious. Now people started thinking that this man is actually not a normal scientist, although Mrs. Hall used to call him experimental investigator. Okay, but everyone in the small village, it was chota sa gaon tha, so everybody started talking different things about it. Someone was calling, oh, he's a terrorist who is trying to make some chemical bomb. Somebody says, oh, he's a criminal who is actually concealing his identity from the police. That's why he has covered his entire face with bandage. Someone was, the different people, different type of gossip was going on. And why not? Kyun nahi hoga bhai? In the first hand, he never showed his face to anyone. Secondly, he was not coming down for even his lunch and breakfast. Dining bhi bhi nahi aata tha. Everything he was ordering in his room. Third, he was always angry, and different type of sounds were coming from the room. When he was failed to make anything, you know what did he do? He used to smash the chemicals and the beakers and the test tubes, which was causing a lot of things, a lot of noises in the room. And whenever, most of the time, he's angry. And another suspicious, देखो इतना छोटा मैं सारा बात नहीं बता सकती हूँ. When you will go through, I will definitely suggest you to go through the entire novel, because I can bet you the entire novel is written also in the very simple English, and it's very interesting. So arrival, बहुत सारी बातें हैं. And then the lady started also suspecting him. Anyway, ये सब हो रहा था. His luggage arrived, जैसे मैंने बताया, which was containing hundreds of strange glass bottles. So local town people believe that it is very odd. He was not even talking to anyone. He was never coming out of his room. Anyway, one day what happened? अब एक दिन क्या हुआ? His money was over. How long he can have those money? So he decided to burgle, because Mrs. Hall was demanding for his money. Then a mysterious burglary occurs in the village. And that was the time which caused a lot of suspicion on him. यहाँ से शुरू हुआ. And very soon the entire place has come to know about his invisibility. Now still people can never believe that a person can ever be invisible. वो सब बाद में मैं बताऊंगी. Footprints without feet. What were the problems he was facing as a sign, because of his invisibility. Anyway, he started moving from one place to another, trying to arrange money, trying to arrange his, formula books, which was lost, and he was not again come back in the visible sense form. So these were thinking happening and happening. Anyway, finally he reached to his old friend Kemp's house. There he narrated entire story to that fellow. Kemp, the scientist, first of all, he thought Griffin that he will convince him, and he told him about his ill, plan. What was the evil plan? That through this invisibility, this quality he is having, one day he want to reign the terror. He wanted to reign the entire country, entire place, or whether you can say the entire world. He wanted to establish, okay, the reign of terror, and then he wanted to do negative things to the people. Dr. Kemp, his scientist friend, was actually very much impressed with this entire invisibility. But when he heard about his story, that how he wanted to kill people and how he's having the negative mindset, he decided to hand him over to the police. अब यहीं से ड्रामा शुरू हुआ. लास्ट में जो क्लाइमेक्स होता है, police reached. Then he started using his invisibility. lot of dishum like our Hindi movie it happened, बहुत सारा हंगामा हुआ, and finally, unfortunately, this great gifted scientist was brutally killed, not because he was actually, because of his evil intention, and he was killed. And and so Griffin, Dr. Kemp had thought that at least the entire place was able to get rid of this criminal who was having a negative mindset. But according to him, simultaneously he also felt that the entire science world has lost whom, किसको lost कर दिया science world ने, a great and a gifted person. चलो ये तो बहुत ट्रेजिक एंड हुआ, लेकिन और भी बहुत सारी बातें हुई, तो लिटिल बिट ऑफ मूवी आई एम गोइंग टू शो इट टू यू टुडे. एंड ये क्यों कह रही हूँ मैं, बिकॉज आई जस्ट वांट टू यू टू हैव अ लिटिल इंटरेस्ट इन द स्टोरी. थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्ट शुरू हो जाएगा, देयर आफ्टर आई विल शेयर द एंटायर लिंक, द मूवी लिंक विथ यू थ्रू व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप, एंड आई वुड लाइक यू टू गो थ्रू दिस मूवी. इसको आप लोग देखोगे, अगर नहीं देख पाओगे देन टुमारो यू विल, इफ यू विल रिक्वेस्ट मी, आई विल कंटिन्यू द मूवी. एंड देयर आफ्टर मंडे, संडे आपका टेस्ट है ना, portion for Sunday's test is एक मिनट, पता चला था but I forgot. Let's see which chapter they have decided. um, 1 minute, I'll tell you. Okay, हाँ, Diary of Anne Frank, that simple chapter. If you want me tomorrow, we will simply, चलो कल ये काम कर सकते हैं कि we will do a quick revision, and thereafter Sunday you will write down your test, then Monday we will start this chapter. So let's I'm going to show you movie. Be ready. I'm actually taking advantage of this technology. It's now tell me children, screen visible, sound clear.
परिवार को देखा हमने स्कूटर पर.
अरे ये क्या आ गया?
पिता स्कूटर चला रहे थे. एक छोटा सा
owner of the inn without taking his identity.
Children, all well?
And carried the clothes, walking from Bramblehurst railway station, and demanded, in the name of human charity, a room and a fire. A guest stopping at Epping Village in the winter time was an unheard of piece of luck, and so Mrs. Hall, the owner of the inn, without taking his identity,
Voice is audible.
allotted him a parlor and
Children,
clothes,
voice is audible or
plates,
not?
and glasses.
Please write it in the chat box.
She was surprised to see that her visitor still wore his hat and coat, despite that the fire was burning up briskly in the room, and that his head and face were thoroughly bandaged.
Can I take your hat and coat, sir? And give them a good dry in the kitchen?
No.
The poor souls had an accident or an operation or something.
Mrs. Hall once again went to the parlour when the clock jobber, Teddy Henfrey, came to the inn.
Would you mind, sir? This man are coming to look at the clock, sir.
Look at the clock. Certainly. Good afternoon.
I hope that it's no intrusion.
None whatever. Though I understand that this room is really to be mine for my own private use.
I thought, sir, you'd prefer the clock.
Certainly, certainly. But as a rule, I like to be alone and undisturbed. But I'm really glad to have the clock seen to. Yeah, very glad.
The weather.
Why don't you finish and go? All you've got to do is to fix the hour hand on its axle. You're simply humbugging.
Certainly, sir. 1 minute more. I overlooked. Damn it. A man must do a clock at times, surely. Can't a man look at you? Ugly. Seemingly can't if the police was wanting you. You couldn't be more wrapped and bandaged. My sakes, Mr. Hall. You got a rum up home?
What's that?
Rum-looking customer stopping at a coach and horses. It looks a bit like a disguise, don't it? I would like to see a man's face if I had him stopping in my place. But women are that trustful, where strangers are concerned. He's took your rooms, and he ain't even given a name, Hall.
You don't say so.
He's got a lot of luggage coming tomorrow, so he says.
What?
My aunt at Hastings was swindled by a stranger in the like manner.
Look very closely at the stranger's luggage when it comes tomorrow.
You mind your own business, Hall, and I'll mind mine.
The stranger's cartload of trunks, crates, and boxes arrives finally. The stranger comes out to receive it, but a mishap happens.
Come along with those boxes. I've been waiting long enough.
Whoop!
Lie down!
The kind-hearted Mr. Hall, on seeing the stranger attacked by the dog, went headlong, following him to his room, and finding the doors ajar, entered it without ceremony. He caught a glimpse of what seemed a handless sleeve waving towards him in the dim light, and he saw a face of 3 huge, indeterminate spots on white, like a pale pansy flower. Then he was struck violently in the chest, hurled back, and the door slammed in his face and locked. Griffin had unpacked his crates and boxes and spread his bottles of all sizes all over the place, on the table and the floor. And when Mrs. Hall pointed to the mess he had created, he suggested the compensation could be charged in his bill.
Oh my God! Oh my God, what a mess! You have spoiled the place!
Don't worry. You can charge me a shilling each time you find such a mess.
When the word reached the village general practitioner, Cuss, that the stranger possessed 1001 bottles of rare chemical, he felt jealous of the stranger and went to interview him.
I've heard you take an interest in scientific things. We are raising funds for the village nurse. Would you subscribe?
I'd consider it.
Are you researching?
I am.
A long research?
A damnable long research.
Oh, you must have been given permission. Most valuable prescription?
Yes.
Is it medical?
Damn you. What are you fishing after?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you.
Look, here it is. I'd read it. 5 ingredients. Put it down.
There was a prescription burning, wasn't it? How the devil can you move an empty sleeve like that?
Empty sleeve?
Yes, an empty sleeve.
It's an empty sleeve, is it? You saw it was an empty sleeve. Are you sure? Think again.
After this strange experience, Cuss was not in a condition to stay there any further. He rushed straight to the vicarage, where the village vicar, Bunting, lived. When he narrated the entire story, and then something from the sleeve pinched his nose, as if between the thumb and the forefinger, the vicar laughed heartily and called it a very strange story. It was not easy to convince anyone that Cuss had seen a man whose hand was invisible. Let's see. A burglary took place at the vicarage at 4 in the morning. Awakened by a noise, Mr. and Mrs. Bunting reached the hall. The drawer was open and a candle was burning on the desk. But the room was perfectly empty. They wondered who had lit the candle and stolen the money. Achoo! There was a violent sneeze in the passage. They rushed out, and as they did so, the kitchen door slammed. Then the back door was just opening, and the faint light of early dawn displayed the dark masses of the garden beyond. The place was empty. In the early hours of Monday, getting suspicious of unusual activities, Mr. and Mrs. Hall peeped in the stranger's room, and finding it empty, went inside.
Tar spirits?
I know tar spirits. I've read in papers of him. Tables and chairs leaping and dancing. Lock him out. Don't let him come in again. I half guessed I might know. With them goggling eyes and bandaged head and never going to church of a Sunday. He has put the spirits into the furniture. My good old furniture. It was in that very chair my poor dear mother used to sit when I was a little girl. To think it should rise up against me now.
Take a drop of medicine. Jenny, your nerves is all upset.
Mrs. Hall?
Mrs. Hall.
Is it your bill you're wanting, sir?
Why wasn't my breakfast laid? Why haven't you prepared my meals and answered my bell? Do you think I live without eating?
Why isn't my bill paid? That's what I want to know.
I told you 3 days ago I was awaiting a remittance.
I told you 2 days ago. I wasn't going to await no remittances. You can't grumble if your breakfast waits a bit. If my bill's been waiting these 5 days, can you?
Look here, my good woman.
Don't call me good woman.
I've told you my remittance hasn't come.
Remittance, indeed?
Still, I dare say, in my pocket.
You told me 3 days ago that you hadn't anything but a sovereign's worth of silver upon you.
Well, I've found some more.
Hello, I wonder where you found it.
What do you mean?
That I wonder where you found it. And before I take any bills or get any breakfasts or do any such things whatsoever, you got to tell me 1 or 2 things I don't understand, and what nobody don't understand, and what everybody is very anxious to understand. I want to know what you've been doing to my chair upstairs, and I want to know how it's your room was empty, and how you got in again. Coming through the door is the rule of the house, and that you didn't do. And what I want to know is how you did come in, and I want to know.
Stop! You don't understand who I am or what I am. I'll show you. By heaven, I'll show you. Here.
Oh, my God.
Oh my God. No scars? No disfigurements of an accident? What's that?
All sorts of people, street vendors, shopkeepers, village men and women, little boys and girls, gypsies and elders began running to the inn and gather near the steps where they heard shouts and shrieks, around 40 in all. Stern-faced Mr. Hall, then Mr. Bobby Jaffers, the village constable, and then the wary Mr. Wodgers came. Jaffers has a warrant in one hand and handcuffs in the other.
I got to Reston, and Reston I will.
Removing his trousers, he sprang up again and flung off his coat. Then he removed his shirt and undergarments and socks and gave all the men a slip and ran out of the village.
Damn it! I'll send them to hell. None will remain alive. I'll set fire to all.
Methinks it's going in the direction of Adderley. Gibbons had heard nothing of the morning's occurrences at the inn. His philosophical tranquility vanished. He hurried down the steepness of the hill towards the village as fast as he could.
I have catched the finest boots after a very long time. But they are too large, and the ones I wore are very comfortably fit, but too thin soled for damp.
Fair boots, anyhow.
Where are you? Am I drunk? Have I had visions? Was I talking to myself? What the...
Don't be alarmed.
None of your ventriloquizing me. Where are you?
Don't be alarmed.
Alarmed, indeed. You will be alarmed in a minute, you silly fool.
Don't be a fool. You think I'm just imagination?
What else can you be?
Then I'm going to throw a flint at you till you think differently. If you struggle any more, I shall throw the flint at your head. Am I imagination?
Put yourself down, rot away. I'm done.
That's good. Listen, I am an invisible man.
Where have you hid? How do you do it? I don't know. I'm beat.
That's all. I'm invisible. That's what I want you to understand. And what I want you to understand is this.
But whereabouts?
Here, 6 yards in front of you.
Ah, sort of ghostily, though.
Of course.
How you manage it?
It's too long a story. And besides, what I want to say at present is this. I need help. I was wandering, mad with rage, naked